Welcome and thank you for joining me today. Ancient wisdom has long emphasized the importance of observation, with yogis and Buddhist monks pointing to the power of focusing our attention. Observation and attention are key tools for shaping our lives because whatever we focus on, we invite into our reality. In this video, we'll explore the profound ways that our attention can shape our experiences and how, by mastering it, we can create the reality we truly want. As co-creators of our reality, learning to direct our attention is one of the most powerful practices we can develop. So, let's dive in and explore how our attention impacts the energy we experience and the reality that unfolds. Understanding how attention shapes reality. To understand the role attention plays in creating our desired reality, let's start with a simple concept. Where attention goes, energy flows. This idea suggests that energy follows our focus, meaning whatever we focus on, we feed energy into. Imagine that energy is like water. Just as water nurtures plants to grow, our attention nurtures whatever we're focused on, giving it life and allowing it to expand. Many of us feel trapped or stuck in certain areas of life. Have you ever felt as though you're on a roller coaster, experiencing the same kinds of challenges over and over, or meeting the same type of people in relationships? This recurring pattern often happens because energy becomes stagnant, unable to flow freely. When energy can't flow, it leads to repetition of the same situations or relationships because we're holding on to past issues or unresolved emotions. The key to breaking free is in directing our attention to areas we want to grow and thrive, rather than staying focused on past pain or worries. The nature of attention: polar versus non-polar. Most people are unaware that attention itself can have two primary types: polar attention and non-polar attention. These types of attention impact reality in different ways. Polar attention, for example, has the power to attract and repel. Think of it as two sides of the same coin. With polar attention, our focus can either pull something closer or push it away, depending on whether our thoughts are positive or negative. Imagine you're focused on an issue that's causing stress. If you view it negatively, you're likely to continue attracting more of what you dislike because your attention is feeding the problem. On the other hand, if you approach the same issue with a positive perspective, you're likely to find a solution or opportunity for growth. This is because positive and negative attention both affect reality, but in different ways. Life doesn't care whether our attention is positive or negative. It simply responds to the content of our thoughts. In addition to polar attention, there's non-polar attention, which is entirely neutral. Non-polar attention has the unique ability to dissolve reality, meaning that when we view something without attaching positive or negative feelings, it simply passes through our life without taking hold. This neutral non-polar attention can be incredibly useful when we encounter unpleasant situations. Rather than resisting or obsessing over these situations, we can simply observe them neutrally, allowing them to dissolve and move on without affecting us deeply. The influence of positive and negative attention. Now let's take a closer look at how positive and negative attention shape the reality we experience. Positive attention can help us attract more of what we want, while negative attention can inadvertently bring us more of what we dislike. For example, if we focus on something we fear or dislike intensely, we tend to attract similar experiences. If we focus on a positive vision or something we love, we draw in more of those experiences. This is why so many people struggle with repetitive challenges or similar types of relationships. If someone has been hurt in a past relationship, they may put a lot of energy into avoiding that kind of pain again. Ironically, this negative focus often draws them into relationships that recreate the same painful dynamics. Life responds to the content of our thoughts, not necessarily the nature of them. So, whether we're loving or hating something, we attract more of what we're thinking about. Many of us have been conditioned to live in survival mode, always on the lookout for threats or dangers. This conditioning creates a fear-driven focus, which influences our reality by keeping us in states of anger, fear, and pride. When we hold on to these emotional states, we limit ourselves, often missing opportunities for growth or positive change. These emotions, fear, anger, and pride, keep our attention on things that reinforce survival instincts rather than growth. For example, someone who's always focused on protecting themselves from harm may struggle to trust others or take risks that could lead to greater happiness. This survival focus limits us, as it's often based on avoiding threats rather than seeking positive experiences, moving beyond conditioned fear and pride. Throughout our lives, we're influenced by various forces, from the media to social norms, that keep us in a state of fear and self-protection. For instance, think about the news, social media, and other forms of information we consume daily. These often highlight fear-inducing stories, influencing us to focus on potential threats rather than potential growth. This focus on fear and anger can make us more susceptible to external influences and manipulation. When we're fearful, it's easy for others to sway us, using our attention to make us act out of fear or anger rather than love and understanding. Many people repeat similar relationship patterns because they're still holding on to past hurts and fears. This focus on avoiding past mistakes actually keeps the energy of those past experiences alive, attracting similar situations again. Instead of experiencing healing and moving on, they continue to focus on what went wrong before, drawing more of it into their lives. Non-polar or neutral attention offers a way out of this pattern. When we observe a situation without attaching a strong emotion, neither positive nor negative, we free ourselves from repeating it. Neutral attention is like letting a wave pass over you without trying to hold on to it or push it away. By simply observing, we allow the energy to move on, accepting life as it is. When faced with challenges, most of us instinctively resist. We're taught to fight against what we don't like, which actually feeds energy into the problem. Imagine trying to push a heavy door closed while someone is pushing from the other side. The more you resist, the more force you create. Similarly, when we resist difficult situations, we often make them worse by giving them more of our attention and energy. Acceptance, however, is different from resistance. When we accept a situation, we acknowledge that it's happening without attaching anger or fear. This doesn't mean we give up. It simply means we stop feeding the problem with our attention. Acceptance is a form of non-polar attention that allows us to acknowledge the situation without making it stronger. By accepting a challenging situation, we allow it to dissolve rather than grow. Reframing setbacks as opportunities. Once we've reached a place of acceptance, we can begin to reframe setbacks as opportunities. Any situation can be viewed in different ways, and the way we perceive it determines its effect on us. A setback can be seen as a negative event, or it can be reinterpreted as a blessing in disguise. For example, missing an opportunity might seem disappointing, but it could also be a way for the universe to steer us towards something even better. Many times we experience situations that don't make sense immediately, but later reveal themselves as necessary for our growth. Perhaps a relationship ended, but it led to personal growth or opened doors to new experiences. Viewing setbacks as blessings allows us to release resistance and focus our energy on finding new paths forward. Steps to using attention effectively. Now that we've explored the types of attention, let's look at a three-step process for using it effectively. By combining polar and non-polar attention, we can move from resistance to acceptance, and ultimately to creation. Step 1. Acceptance. Acceptance is the first step in shifting our reality. By accepting a situation, we stop resisting it, allowing ourselves to step back and observe it without judgment. When we resist, we put energy into pushing away the experience, which only strengthens it. Acceptance is a form of non-polar attention that allows us to acknowledge what's happening without attaching a strong emotional charge. By practicing acceptance, we free up energy that was previously wasted on resistance, allowing us to focus on positive creation. Step 2. Recognize the blessing in disguise. After reaching acceptance, the next step is to reframe the situation. This doesn't mean forcing positivity, but rather recognizing that any situation has the potential to be a learning experience. Sometimes life events that seem negative are actually opportunities in disguise. By looking for the potential blessing or lesson, we shift our focus away from resistance and into growth. When we view a setback as a stepping stone, we release the need to resist it. We begin to see that every experience has value, even if it's uncomfortable. This shift allows us to harness polar attention in a positive way, attracting more of what we want rather than resisting what we don't. Step 3. Redirect focus to desired outcomes. Finally, once we've accepted and reframed the situation, we can focus on what we truly desire. With our attention free from resistance, we can direct it toward our goals and aspirations. By consistently choosing to focus on what we want, we feed energy into those desired outcomes, allowing them to manifest in our reality. The more we practice this redirection, the easier it becomes to move through challenges without getting stuck in resistance or negativity. When we master these steps, acceptance, reframing, and redirection, we achieve a powerful state of alignment with the universe, enabling us to manifest the reality we desire with greater ease. These 3 steps allow us to transform our lives from being reactive to proactive, turning our attention into a tool for intentional creation rather than simply a response to external events. Breaking the habit of negative focus. Another crucial part of the process is breaking the habit of focusing on negativity. Many of us have been conditioned to dwell on what we don't like, worry about what could go wrong, or replay past disappointments. This habit of negative focus keeps us stuck in a loop of attracting more negativity, reinforcing unwanted aspects of life. To break this habit, practice mindfulness. Whenever you catch yourself focusing on something negative, pause and redirect your attention to something positive or neutral. This simple act of awareness allows you to disrupt the pattern and choose a new focus. Over time, as you practice this redirection, you'll notice a shift in your overall mindset. It becomes easier to let go of worries and fears, and your attention naturally gravitates toward more positive and fulfilling aspects of life. It's also helpful to remind yourself that thoughts don't define reality unless you give them power. Just because a negative thought crosses your mind doesn't mean it has to take hold or manifest. By choosing to let go of negative thoughts instead of feeding them, you regain control over your focus and ultimately over your reality. Thank you for joining me on this journey to understand the power of attention. I hope this discussion has inspired you to harness your focus and intentionally create the life you desire. Remember, each day offers a new opportunity to shape your reality. Start today, take small steps, and watch as your focused attention transforms your world.